Hello, good morning, and welcome back to another edition of the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, the Juice Review Show, brought to you by the Department of Inhaled Vapors. Now, this has been two parts today. The first part will be my thoughts and opinions on the VaperExpo that was in the NEC Birmingham this last weekend, and the second part will be a juice review. This has come from Lotus Vaping Technologies, and that will be the Nom X2. This one is the Kiwi, Passion Fruit and Nectarine. This is currently available in the States and is also available in the UK via Evolution Vaping. So we'll do that. I'm going to start off with the event itself. So, who went? What did you basically think of it? I've got to admit, I'm starting to get a little bit bored with these events. I try to look at this from my point of view, which on the reviewing side, it's good for me. I get to speak to quite a few companies. I get to see what they've got coming out, mainly on the juice front, because that's mainly what we do on the channel. But it is nice to go around and have a look at some new hardware. And there was a lot of hardware there. I've got to say, there was a lot of hardware there. If you liked pods. Everywhere you looked was pod. For a B2B point, I can understand that for the event, because a lot of companies are looking for basically starter kits so they can obviously get more customers and new customers into their shops. And also, these are the, if you want continuing custom and expanding your customer base, you've got to attract the new starters in with easy, no faff starter kits. So I perfectly understand that. But when you get to a B2C day and you're walking around and that's all you see, after you've got to your 10th booth of a pod system, and to be fair, 90% of them look the bloody same. They all kind of look like that with a... Also got to state, do not call your system a pod system if it's refillable. That's not a pod system. That is basically a redesigned ego pen type thing. It's one of the pen devices. It's exactly the same, because you've got your battery and you've got your refillable tank on top. And when the core goes on it, you put another refillable tank on it and go again. Or, like the Aspire Sprite, you can actually change the cores. It's not a pod system. It's a pen system. Just designed a little bit better and doesn't look quite as wank as the old Ego T's did. Well, they were bad. And Ego C's and all this that I started with. But they did the job. But you're not a pod system. Please stop calling yourself a pod system. Oh, just really gets on my tats. But you are basically this. I mean, this is from Sigelli, who are now doing disposables. And to be fair, they're not bad. If you don't really want to take your mod out for a night, just take a couple of these. You'll be sorted for the night. I mean, to be fair, that holds 1.2 millilitres of juice. It's got 15 milligram of nic in there. The flavour is good. I couldn't fault any of the flavours on it. I'm not sure on the pricing, mind you. But if you're on a night out, you think you're going to be getting a bit squiffy and you don't want to actually take your main mod out for the evening, put 2 or 3 of them in your pocket. You'll be sorted. All you got to remember is, because on these ones the airflow comes from the bottom, don't do what I normally do and hold it like that and then wonder why you can't get anything out, because it's breath activated, and if there's no breath going there, you're just sucking there like an idiot. But I mean, on and off, that's done me a couple of days already. Couldn't fault that, but like I say, hardware side was lacking really. They will say they had loads and loads of hardware, but it was all the same. And I'm not being funny. I don't care what shape, colour, design you have on your pod system or redesigned pen system. They all do the same. You press a button. You breathe in, you breathe out. They all do the same. There's nothing that's... You might look a little bit nicer than that one, but you still all do the same. So some of the pricing systems that's coming out for these pod systems, well, so-called pod systems and pen systems, is a bit... Yeah, alrighty. It's a bit much. CBD was not as prevalent as it has been in previous years. other years, you've gone in there and you think you've basically ended a CBD show. I didn't see any buds anywhere this time, which was a nice. Say CBD wasn't so much in your face. It's pod systems now. Pod systems is the market that they really are hammering, and they're oversaturating it. You don't need that many pod systems out there. They all do the bloody same up to a point, just to various degrees of quality. It did seem very scaled back this time. I think they may be a big event, but it may be time to stop advertising it as that, as a selling point, because it was very, very spacious. You had plenty of room to walk, but there weren't that many people there either for a Saturday. I mean, we got there just after 10, that's about 10:30 when we walked in. And there's plenty of room to walk. Well, there's plenty of room to walk around all day, especially when as you got towards the back end, or if you did down the side bits, because there was a lot of booths they did not sell this time. You could just see that you got the one person who bought one in the middle, hoping, oh, I'm in the middle, that'd be fine, and then realising no one bought by the side of him, and it was like, oh, you look a bit lonely there. No one's going to wander up here because it looks like a dead zone. And as you got further towards the back, you saw they'd actually partitioned it off quite a way into the hall as well. So there's a lot of dead space around the sides. And that's around all sides as well. All sides there was dead space. So Juice, I did manage to pick up some good things for the reviews. And a couple of unusual ones as well. I'll be fair, if I didn't have the people that I wanted to speak to there, I would have probably done the event in about 3 to 4 hours. If I hadn't had to like take pictures. I mean, I did a walk around video as well, and I think I managed to offend half of Expo. Can't help being honest. But yeah, pod systems did rule it and did ruin it. I mean, I'll be fair, the average vapor who went there and saw all those pod systems probably ain't going to be overly impressed. I mean, we had the usual faces there doing the walk-arounds, meet and greets, which is always nice. I mean, you had Vic, you had Chris, you had Dino, you had the Vaping Postman, you had Bogan going around nearly twatting people with his camera stand every now and again. And you had Mike Vapes as well, who was on one of the booths doing his new stuff and all this lot. So that's always nice, but entertainment factor, it was lacking, really lacking. I think that was it. I mean, and I've got to say, incredibly pushy sales staff on some of those booths this time. I mean, what I've started to notice as the years have gone on, like the bigger companies are now really scaling back their booths, especially on the hardware side. Their booths just look like I've entered a jumble sale. Some of them do kind of look a bit car booty, and it's a bit sad. And I mean, even Zebra, who for the last couple have been quite a vocal and entertaining booth to go on. Got your African dancers and all this, all right, dressed up zebras, all the face paint, all the African proper authentic clothing and all this a lot as well, tribal clothing, and it looked good. It just looked sad this time. I mean, the booth had basically halved itself, and just no one looked happy. It's one thing I didn't appreciate saying, mind you, there is a rise in heat not burn tobacco products turning up. Don't get me wrong, I know they have a place on the market for people that vaping doesn't work. I know they're not quite as safe as vaping, but they are still safer than smoking. But there was a lot of like IQOS clones popping up. A lot of tobacco clones popping up. And there was one company in particular who I thought were absolutely fucking disgraceful, and that was Healsia. And they're claiming they are the ultimate 100% safe IQOS type thing, because they don't use tobacco and they don't use nicotine either. It's all basically, it sounds like the version of the herbal cigarette that we used to get, that we were all supposed to use to stop smoking, apart from the fact it tasted horrible and stunk the room out. And by herbal, I obviously mean legally herbal and not unfortunately, the other stuff. But yeah, and I thought, well, that's interesting. I'll go and have a look. And I started looking through their brochure, and right there on page 1, basically saying the reason why we don't use nicotine is because nicotine is a known carcinogen. No, it fucking isn't. It really isn't. And I'll be fair, you're in the wrong building to start saying that crap, because most of the booths in here would come and lynch you. Nicotine does not give you cancer. Scientifically proven. So you're using scaremongering to sell your crappy product. Get the fuck. Did not need that. On the ICOS front, mind you, it was kind of funny. I was kind of unusual as well. I didn't see an ICOS stand there, which is unusual because they're normally flooded everywhere. Philip Morris is normally flooded everywhere with it. And then I went to see Kangatech. I mean, I haven't seen Kangatech in years. I mean, I think it's about 2 or 3 years that they've been kind of like coming back. So I thought I'd go over, and to be fair, even though their products towards the end were crap, to start off with, they did get a lot of new smokers through the early periods, with their little Kanga tanks and all that lot, and little Kanga pens and Kanga mods. So I thought I'd go over, just say hi and see what they've got. And the guy who was actually manning the booth dropped a bit of a bombshell on me. I didn't realise this. I know there's going to be a lot of you out there that didn't realise as well. I know some of you, especially ones in the industry, do know this already. The only reason that Kangatech are back on the market is because they are now partnered with Philip Morris. Yes, they are supported completely by a tobacco company, by the tobacco company, which is currently riding on the arse of Juul. And now Kangatech, and probably more areas than we actually know about. Oh, and of course PMI, Philip Morris International, also teamed up with Vice, you know, the slutty sister of Disney, and are currently doing the Change Incorporated tour around Britain. Now, I found a little thing online. It's from the Not Vice website. And apparently they've got a lady who used to work for Vice who explains all about the partnership between Vice and Philip Morrison. And it's a very interesting read. If I can find the link again, I'll put it in this description. But it's a very interesting read. And at some points it's quite funny when Philip Morris are concerned about the way that Vice actually do their advertising and stuff. I mean, so Vice actually now sound a hell of a lot worse than Philip Morris, and that's saying something when Philip Morris are concerned about the way they're going with it. But there's some very interesting insights in that article. As I say, if I find the link up again, I shall put it in the description for this. But yeah, Philip Morris, the Takeover Kings. I mean, in the States now, and it's the first time I've potentially actually rooted for a tobacco company, British American Tobacco, and now taking Philip Morris and Juul to task. Basically saying, if it wasn't for them, would there have ever been any mention of a teenage epidemic in the States? Because they're the only name that keeps on cropping up every time. But yeah, I mean, that's how the Vibe were there. I didn't see Blue, which is unusual, but I say Vibe were there with a big Gordish stand and stand in this wind tunnel for 2 minutes and you might win a free device. But yeah, hardware side it was crap. You had to sift through a lot of pods to actually find some actual devices and some hardware. Gotta go big shout out as always to Evolution Vaping. They knock out the park with it. It basically appears that they've brought the whole fucking shop. They've basically set up a whole shop in the centre of it, and there's always a good place to get some reasonably priced hardware and juice and stuff like that. On the bargain front, I did manage to pick this one up from the guys for 20 quid. I know a few other people managed to get hold of that one. I will apologise to anyone who went there on the Sunday and didn't find the offer anymore. My mate Simon, who also very graciously gave me a lift to and from the event, he nabbed the last one and had a massive old grin on his face for some reason. For 20 quid, you can't knock it. It's a good device. It's bloody heavy. I've got to admit, I was quite surprised with the weight of this. But it's a bit of a chucker. And the flavour isn't too bad from the tank, which is always good. Other things I do. Yeah, pushy salespeople always pisses me off. Especially when they've got crap. And I've got to admit, the look on people... I'm probably a little bit too... I'm not the customer they're anticipating. I'm probably a little bit too honest for my own good sometimes with these companies. And they do kind of look at it like, oh my God, no one said that today. It's because they're hoping for free shit. I don't give a monkeys if you give me stuff or not. But if your stuff's crap, I will tell you. I'll be constructive if you're quite a nice person. If you're not, I will both barrel you, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, if I didn't actually have anything, like if I didn't have to take the pictures, if I didn't do like the live, I did about a 40-minute walk around of the place on the live. Oh, Wi-Fi in that place is shockingly shite. I know it's because there's so many people using it all, but boost your fucking signal for God's sakes. You know you're going to have loads of people in there. I'll be fair, even the 4G in there was shite. God, my live looked like it looked like I turned into max fucking headroom for most of the live, to be honest. And to anyone who sat through all of it, I thank you. I thank you a lot, because I've watched it back myself, and even I've gone, I'm not doing another live one in there. There's no fucking point. The media system in that place is wank. But yeah, like as I say, I had people to talk to which passed the time, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed talking to the actual companies and the actual... I did notice that there's a bit more on the actual companies and manufacturers and not so much on the distros here. I mean, there were some notable people missing for this time. I mean, VapeBase. VapeBase have hit every single event I've been to for about the last 5 years. And no, not there. I know at the end of the month, once again, it's called Hall of Vape in Stuttgart. Are people saving their money? Are some of these companies now seeing the UK market as a bit, yeah. Now, from that event, I would have gone, it's a bit, yeah. I mean, I'll go again in October. I'll do one day again. I mean, I will admit, last October I had a ball. It was very entertaining. I had just a great day. This time, as I say, if I didn't have people to talk to and certain things I wanted to have a look at, probably about 4 hours I'd have gone doing what I've had enough. And well, I would sat in the Wetherspoons, but then I realised how fucking expensive they are as well. So yeah, it's kind of the expo scene in the UK is just starting to concern me a bit. I mean, this year, obviously, there won't be a London Vape Show, thank fuck, because that was diabolical. I won't be bothering with Jam ever again, because that was diabolical. I'm not being funny. If you are offering free tickets out and you can't fill the place, and then still have no atmosphere whatsoever apart from whatever Zebra were doing, yeah, I'm not bothered with that. And also, you've already announced that next year is going to be Vape Jam 6 plus the CBD show. So you've already... If what I can gather out, it sounds like it's going to be about a 50-50 split there. I don't care, because you've just wiped out 50% of what anyone... Unless they're into that sort of thing. As I've always said, don't get me wrong, I know CBD can do some people a lot of good. But you just need a separate area. Just have a separate area. That's the CBD area. So people that are interested can go there, have a look around. And actually, then you can gauge how much interest people have got in CBD. Because if that area is dead, you go, do you know what? Let's not do that next year. Make it a separate event. Oh, just... But, I say, lack of people at Jam. Not really killing it at Expo. There's no Vape Fest this year. There's no Vape Collective this year. There's no Manchester from what I've heard this year. Is it starting to die? Have people had enough? Can people afford to keep doing it? I mean, for some of these people who have done like 3 days, it's not cheap when you look at your travel, your hotel, tickets for the event if you've had to pay for them, food and drink for 3 days. It's not cheap. That's what sometimes pees me off when someone comes back from Expo and they put on Facebook all the stuff I got there, and people go, "Oh, you know, free shit, aren't you? You're just there for the free shit." They've probably paid £400 just to actually do the event. I think they're entitled to a little bit of product. All right, if they sell it, then they're wankers. But that's not the point. Oh, once again, a little bit of a rant. Yeah, it's getting a bit. Really, it's just entertaining. I mean, Ashley. Oh, God bless her. Ashley and BH Vapes. I mean, BH Vapes, I love him. He's funny. He's not afraid to take the piss out of anyone, which is always good for a giggle. But he keeps things flowing nicely. Ashley, I've said it before, you're a lovely woman until you speak on a microphone. And I've said it before, just get the sound guy to drop your treble down a bit. And that'll be fine. Because every now and then, especially when you get excited and you get shouty, the little bones in my inner ear go... And, oh, it does hurt. Sorry, Ashley, but your voice hurts. I think that's about it, really. I've got to admit now, I think Expo, 20 quid on the door. Let's take the piss a bit. It's not worth 20 quid. Always amused me. It's basically it's charging you to go. Just about if you went into your local high street or your local market area and you found out the only way you could actually go and buy stuff on that market was by paying £5 to get in the door. It's a bit much. So 20 quid for the day now just to get in. If you buy them on the door, obviously if you buy them beforehand, I think that's 15 quid, but I think the previous year that was about 12 or 13 quid. It's getting a pricey day. Well, I've had a massive ramble on that one, so I'm going to end it there. Yeah, it's getting to the point where I think a few of us are querying about going to these events. Because sometimes what's on offer for what you have to pay for the day is not adding up anymore. So I'll still be there in October. I've still got some people to see. I mean, the only reason I did Jam this year was so it cut down people that I had to see at Expo, so it gave me a bit more time because I was only doing the day. And then kind of realised probably I didn't really need to do Jam because I could have done it all in about 5 or 6. Yeah, I would say if I hadn't done Jam, I'd say about 5 or 6 hours, and I'd got everything bashed out of the way. I mean, I even had an hour off just to get some food, and didn't really notice that I'd missed anything. But anyway, so yes, I hope they improve. I really do. Just entertain us while we're there. You got to remember that. All right, we're not B2B, but in the end of the day, we can still bring a lot of money to your booths and to your stand. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. Yeah, it was a bit. No one looked exceptionally happy they were there. And the booth staff. When it gets to about 5 o'clock, I know the place starts to empty out, but remember, your event goes till 6 o'clock, okay? Don't start breaking down your stand at 5 o'clock on a Saturday, because what made a quite empty and spacious event look even worse. And also, can I just say, housekeeping on some of the booths. Some of your booths look fucking like a rubbish tip. General idea, if you want a good image for your company, when you empty a box, put it away somewhere. Don't just leave a mass of crap at the back of your booth. Because I go there and go, yeah, you're a juice company, and if that's how your hygiene and housekeeping is just for this booth, I don't maybe want to touch your juice. Does create a bit of an image. Anyway, I've had a ramble, I've had a rant. It was alright. It was alright. I'll say pod systems kind of pissed me off this time. Just too many. Far too many. Saying a steady increase now in the IQOS heat not burn clone market is appearing as well. It's tobacco. Sorry, in the end of the day, yes, I know it's harm reduction. It's not quite as harm reduction as this, but it is harm reduction. But it's tobacco. Those little tobacco fingers are starting to crawl in, and they're grabbing a bit there, grabbing a bit there. Oh, there's Kangatech. We'll grab them. I have been told about the funding behind red boxes. Interesting. This is something else I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging on, because That was a bit of a cryptic clue I got left on my live. But anyway, on to the juice review. Yes, we're going to be looking at Nom ×2. This version is from the States, so this did come with the 3mg nicotine already in the bottle, but it is for review purposes. Have got to state for the record, any views or opinions you hear during this part of the review are mine and mine alone. I have not been paid to do this review. I did not pay for the product. It was very kindly sent to me by Lotus Vaping Technologies. Also got to state for the record, any individual taste setups and power levels will alter what you get from a juice. I can only personally tell you what I'm getting myself. Now this time I will be using the Snow Wolf thing, and that has got their tank, and I can't remember what it's called to. It's called to 0.24. Don't normally do these in a tank, because normally I'm doing more than one flavour, but since I'm only doing the one flavour for this review, I should be actually tanking it for a change. I don't generally use tanks, because it makes me cry when I see how much juice I go through and how quickly I go through it. But I've got to admit, it's not a bad flavour through this tank. Got a really easy filling system. So just unscrew the top. I do kind of like the nut bolt look of the top. I do kind of like that. Right, well, I'm going to start off at 70 watts for this one, which is about 4.1 volts. Their preferred range for the core is between about 70 and 90, so I'm going to do this at like 70, 80 and 90 just to see what we get from it. Here we go. Was going to say I haven't gone through the labels and the bottle and all that a lot full, because I have done it in a previous review for Nom X2. The juices are also a 70-30 VG-PG blend. Now I've got to say, no throat hit. As you can see, this tank is a cloudy little bugger anyway, and yeah, it's making the 70-30 look more like an 85-15. Flavour wise, I've got to, the first thing that hits you is the kiwi. It's nice, it's a very juicy, slightly sharp kiwi. But underneath that, you have got the passion fruit working as well. Right at the end, and I've got to say, this is actually brilliant flavouring that they've used for the end, and is the nectarine. And it does generally taste like you've just taken a slice of nectarine and just bitten into it. The flavour is absolutely spot on. The kiwi and the passion fruit of that first part is nice, but it's such a lovely finish with that nectarine. A kiwi and the passion fruit at the beginning does flood the mouth, but it is superseded by the nectarine on the exhale, so you've still got that passion fruit and kiwi there. And you just get a rather posh fruit salad on your mouth once that nectarine comes through as well. It adds another flavour, another different type of flavour to it. But the passion fruit and the kiwi both activate the taste buds really, really well. You do get a little bit of a water on. Not to the point where you're gargling like I have done on some of the fizzies. There's no fizzy in this, obviously. Once again, Fruity Vapor's going to love this. I mean, so far, I haven't been able to fault. I couldn't fault the first two that I got through from this company. I can't fault this one either. Right, I'm going to go up to 80 watts, which is now 4.43 volts. Here we go. Wow, sweet spot, sweet spot, sweet spot. Right, round about the mid-ground for this coil and tank. Nectarine. Nectarine is the overriding factor. You get it on, you can taste it on the in, taste it on the out. Sits on the tongue, fills the mouth. Every now and then you get little spikes of kiwi in that as well, just adding to the juiciness. And once again, just playing around in the background is that passion fruit. Now, passion fruit is normally quite, what I class as quite a deep flavour. It feels like one that fills the mouth type of, but it feels like a dense flavour. They haven't overdone that in here. It is more of a background aid and kind of tapers down maybe some of the sharpness that you would get from the Kiwi and the Nectarine. That's good. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, as I said before, instantly said, fruity vapors, that is good, and it's acting really, really well in a tank. Obviously, you're using a dripper, and depending on how you've cooled it, the type of dripper, airflow, and all this lot, it will alter what you get from a juice. But, I mean, I'm on half air at the moment. Let's open this all the way out. See what it's like. Still get the flavour. Oh, that nectarine has just come through absolutely spot on. Oh, wow. There's the Kiwi. Opening the airflow quite well out. I'm not so much getting the passion fruit now. It's just turned more into a Kiwi nectarine. Which, don't get me wrong, it's still a lovely combination. But opening it out with more air and obviously cooling down the core a little bit, it's not that passion fruit out. Right, I'm going to go up to 90 watts. I'm going to shoot straight past it as normal. 90 watts or 4.79 volts. I've done half a mil already. Yeah, it's a cloudy bastard on full. Getting more of the Kiwi now. That's kind of knocked down the nectarine a little bit. Not getting the passion fruit at all now. I'll go back down to half air. It's just good. It's just good. I'm going to leave that there. It's just good. This is getting a line I'm very, very excited about every time I get one. This and, as I say, super good that I got from Jam. That's one of the good things I did get from Jam. There's some good juice out there again. We went for a big sea of everything being white label crap. And don't get me wrong, not all white label companies are crap. But when you go to an expo and you test 7 juices, which are the same, different names, same flavour profile, but different names. They've obviously just put their own label on the bottle. They've gone to a white label company, make me this, make me that. And you've just got, and then you've just gone, tastes the same. I said, that one tastes the same as that one's, that one's, that one's, that company's, and that one over there. It tastes exactly the same. And then you start to look at the labels and realise they all come from the same white label manufacturer. I'll be fair, if you cut out white label juice from an expo, you'd be very empty. Have also got to give a shout out to Vixen Vapor. They've got a new line of juices coming out. Actually, reasonably original flavour line for it. It kind of sounds like a cocktail range, but they haven't gone for the Nom, which instantly twerks my interest. But hopefully they should be releasing soon. There was talk they're going to have a big launch in a London area, and then they're going to release to the general public. But I should hopefully be getting them when they just before they release, so I can do a review for you on them ones as well. But yeah, it's one to look out for. When I get more news on that, obviously I shall pass it on to you guys. Well, that brings me to the end of this review. Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to Lotus Vaping Technologies for sending me this for review purposes. It's another winner, guys. So far, 3 for 3, which I may be renowned for being a fussy bastard, so that's quite good going for me. Yeah, that is another winner. That is yummy. And as far as I'm aware, should be available at Evolution Vaping in the UK for the UK viewers. Should be available in quite a variety of shops in the USA, depending on what flavour ban and bollocks. And there's something going through the States at the moment. It was a law that I think a lot of people may have avoided or not seen or not understood about the bottles. Apparently they want a flow restrictor on the bottles, so if a child had picked one up and squeezed it, they can only get so much out within a time period, which could really fuck the American market, because basically I don't think anyone complies to it. Not one bottle. It rules out glass drippers and glass bottles and droppers and all that lot straight off the bat. It rules out all these, because you can squeeze more than I think it's 2 mil out in 2 minutes or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's something we're keeping an eye on at the moment for the American market, because that will well, it potentially could fuck it completely if they haven't already got enough external forces trying to fuck it. So yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that one for our American viewers. Right, so what leaves me to do now is, on behalf of myself, Darren Stone, sorry, I had a bit of a ramble. You know, none of this is scripted. It just comes out of my mouth. It goes from there to there, and there's no break in between. So if you have enjoyed what you've watched today, please remember to like, share, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel. My ugly mug should be appearing here anytime soon. Give it a slap and give us a sub. So, on behalf of the department, I bid you all a very good day, and I hope to see you soon. Take care, people.